Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. A 5-year-old boy was found dead in a car yesterday in northwest Omaha. Police in Omaha tell us the boy was in foster care and had been in the car for several hours. Police responded to the area of North 93rd and Binney Streets just after 5 p.m. A police spokesman says it's likely the death was heat-related. They say, though, the cause of death has to be confirmed via autopsy. The high temperature in Omaha yesterday was 89 degrees. The major heat wave that has blanketed much of the United States over these past several days is now to blame for at least 28 deaths. Most of the heat-related deaths have been found in California and Oregon, but the high temperatures have been blamed for fatalities all over the country, including the 5-year-old boy in Omaha on Wednesday. As of yesterday, more than 135 million people across the country were under heat alerts, including 6 counties in southwest Nebraska. The intense heat expected to stick around through the weekend, with authorities fearing the death toll could rise. The recent heat fatality of a police dog in Missouri punctuates the threat of summer heat for any person or pet left in a car. Dan Swanson has more on how officers keep police canines safe.
News that a police dog in Savannah, Missouri died of heat exhaustion after being left in a vehicle following his overnight shift has Nebraska City Police Sergeant Chris Richardson continuing his call for canine safety. He says there are systems available that will alert handlers, start exhaust fans, and even open doors in response to rising temperatures. He called a heat fatality to a police dog inexcusable.
If a police dog dies, they are killed. There are incidences where we lose police canines, but there's enough safety measures in place that, in my opinion, it's just not. It's unexcusable if you were to, as a handler, to lose your dog for a heat casualty such as that.
For Richardson, keeping canine Alex safe begins long before their shift.
I have to come out quite a bit early to actually turn the vehicle on. The metal, everything inside that vehicle heats up as well, and I'll turn that on. It'll be 160, 170 degrees inside that vehicle, and I can actually tell that by the thermostat that's inside the digital computer that's in both the kennel and in the front compartment.
A temperature device is synced with his mobile phone, and Richardson can push a button remotely to open a door to let the dog escape dangerous temperatures. The car is equipped with a computer that will automatically take action well before temperatures reach fatal levels.
We reset it. Like I said, there's no way to reset that alarm.
He laments that some agencies do not have the safety systems for canine officers and encourages leaders to protect their dogs that can cost $12,000 to $25,000 to acquire and more when fully trained.
This is a major investment for any community to maintain, and that's my part. So I need to make sure that he's safe at all times.
Richardson said temperatures can rise too quickly to leave a person or a pet in a car that is not running with air conditioning on. From Nebraska City, I'm Dan Swanson, News Channel Nebraska.
Police in Lincoln are investigating after card skimming devices were discovered on gas pumps in the Fallbrook neighborhood. Police say a service technician found 4 card skimming devices on the pumps at the Super Saver on Monday. 2 of the devices were mounted externally, the other 2 mounted internally. Police say it appears the devices had been in place since late May. Anyone who got gas at that location should be monitoring their financial transactions and contacting their financial institution immediately if suspicious activity is found. The State Chamber of Commerce president touring the state outside of this year's legislative session, promoting state and local needs. Their biggest priority this year might not be what you think it is. Chamber President Brian Sloan stopped in central Nebraska to visit the Hastings Chamber of Commerce. He says when the legislature's not in session, he's meeting with dozens of local city chambers across the state, discussing what laws and changes they'd like to see implemented in their area. The state chamber directly involved with the legislature, and Governor Jim Pillen's main focus last session was property taxes. However, while important, property taxes aren't the biggest issue the state chamber is focusing on right now. It's Nebraska's workforce shortage.
This workforce issue we have now is only going to get worse, absent some public policy changes. And so population and workforce is our number one issue, and we need to have policies, and legislature needs to be adopting certainly tax codes and regulations that help bring young people to the state.
Sloan also says the state should invest in more technology in order to attract new and retain young people. You can find more comments from the state chamber president about his involvement with local chambers and more in the full story at our website. Although all the details have yet to be announced, Governor Jim Pillen yesterday said his tax plan is a tax cut, not a tax hike. At the same time, his critics aren't going away. Joe Jordan has more.
During a Wednesday stop in Omaha, Governor Jim Pillen all but guaranteed that his tax talk special session of the legislature is a go.
You know, there's been lots of questions and some criticism about your plans. Are you still set on the July 25th date, or could that change?
We're having a special session, and it's going to take place. Most likely, it will start on July 25th. Yes.
It appears for now that Pillen's promise to cut property taxes by 40% will be paid for by eliminating billions of dollars in sales tax exemptions. According to a recent statement from Pillen, we can solve this problem with a broad tax base and low tax rate. But the criticism is rolling in, and that opposition is coming from both sides of the aisle. Democrat Michaela Cavanaugh tweeting, "Please give us a plan that doesn't increase taxes on working families."
In southeast Nebraska,
Republican Julie Slama says she's unapologetically a fiscal conservative. That's why I oppose Pillen's plan to raise taxes on middle-class Nebraskans without real state spending cuts. There are 49 state senators, and Pillen will need 33 votes to win. He can only lose 16 votes. According to various news reports and social media posts, at least 14 state lawmakers have already publicly criticized or questioned Pillen's plan, and many Democrats have yet to weigh in. Pillen has held town hall after town hall, 26 according to his office, pushing a massive tax change.
The difference is
State Senator Megan Hunt noting none of the get-togethers were held in Omaha or Lincoln, the state's two largest cities.
You didn't hold any town halls in Omaha or Lincoln. Is there a reason for that? Did you not want to hear from the folks here?
I think I spend probably 65–70% of my time in Lincoln and Omaha. I'm with business leaders and people in Omaha and Lincoln nonstop.
You try to cut the state sales tax?
I think that one key important component of a view of making sure that we have property tax reform.
The governor never said yes or no, which led to this.
Are you going to raise the state sales tax?
No, and this plan is a tax decrease. It's not $1 billion tax increase that some are trying to claim.
Pillen adding that economists will be backing him up. Still, his critics argue his plan looks like a tax shift, not a tax cut. In Omaha, Joe Jordan, News Channel, Nebraska.
Well, now might be a good time to stock up on stamps. Prices are going up again on Sunday. The cost of a first-class Forever stamp going up from 68 cents to 73 cents. That 5-cent jump, an increase of more than 7%. The U.S. Postal Service says the price hikes are needed to achieve financial stability as part of a 10-year plan that was announced 3 years ago. This marks the second increase in stamp prices this year. No matter where you are in Nebraska, you always take a trip to a grocery store for essentials. But in small towns, that could mean a long drive. Luke Stera has more from one grocery store owner shutting down because of high costs.
fresh steaks, minute steaks.
Brenda Whalen and her husband purchased Ken's Corner Market in Coleridge in 2022 with hopes to keep the business alive, making them an owner of 2 grocery stores, one in Laurel and one in Coleridge.
And at that time we were up for that and decided that we would go ahead and lease the building and purchase the inventory that was in the store.
2 years later, high costs and big companies have forced Whalen to make the decision to close up shop in Coleridge.
Obviously, it's not been as profitable as we had hoped.
It's an issue rural grocery stores deal with across the country. For the people of Coleridge, there are still options for groceries just a drive away, in Laurel, Randolph, and Hardington. Whalen says many Coleridge residents work in bigger towns like Yankton and Norfolk, so they can shop at big chain stores. But that doesn't help small businesses like Ken's Corner Market, and not everyone can make it that far for milk and bread.
I feel really bad for those people that can't commute or are not able to commute to a store out of town, even if it is 7 or 10 miles.
The void of grocery stores in rural areas is an issue nation and statewide. According to the USDA in 2016, 9 counties in Nebraska had no grocery stores for residents to shop at. Ken's Corner Market is staying open until mid-August. Whalen says an investor group that owns the building may consider keeping the store open past that date. Reporting for News Channel Nebraska, this is Luke Stera.
Well, this week marked the 5th anniversary of the most extreme flood in Kearney's history. Today, Michael Shively looks ahead at the efforts to prevent a similar disaster from happening again.
You know, it was very, very hard. You see those buildings, the water was 2 feet above the deck over there inside that building. You know, the building there were 3 feet high.
You can count Paul Eunice among the many who never want to see a repeat of the disastrous 2019 Kearney flash flood.
The water was so high all over like that.
At this time 5 years ago, all 7 of the Eunice hospitality hotels in Kearney were shut down. Guests were stranded and staying at the University of Nebraska Kearney dorms as water drained from the hospitality district.
We were very blessed to have the staff we have, that everybody stayed with us and worked with us to help us to get everybody going that day and the day after and the day after.
As people across Buffalo County mucked out their basements and businesses, Jess Mintkin was observing from Grand Island.
Yeah, this is by far the worst that I think anybody in this part of the state has seen.
The flooded communities soon reached out to the assistant manager at Central Platte Natural Resources District. The NRD obtained a federal grant, and Mintkin launched the Elm and Turkey Creeks watershed and flood prevention operation that October with a valiant goal.
The protection of human life. I mean, that's why we do it.
The preliminary plan to mitigate flood risk includes 2 diversion channels. One to the southeast of Elm Creek would be an enlarged version of an existing canal. The other would be just 3 miles west of Kearney's hospitality district. A 200-foot deep diversion channel would take floodwaters from Turkey Creek about a mile south to the Platte River. Designers are putting the finishing touches on the first step of the process.
The first step, the feasibility, gives you a 30% design. The second step will take that design all the way to 100%.
They plan to finish Phase 1 by February. If approved by the NRD board, the second phase would take another 2 to 4 years. At that point, construction could start whenever the communities choose.
If there is support in the future, we at least have a plan that we can start from.
After the 2019 flood, it took Eunice nearly 6 months and more than $10 million to fully restore his hotels. Now, the Eunice campus is again thriving and expanding. A 200,000 square foot sportsplex will open soon, so will a visitors center, a new dual hotel, a multi-purpose district, and even a year-round golf venue. If any of that existed 5 years ago, it would have been underwater. That's prompting Eunice to join the mitigation efforts.
We took some action in the lake in here. We diverted some of the water to go to the Turkey Creek Canal. We tried to take some action. Everybody took some more action. We're just trying to prevent to happen again what happened last time.
These illustrations show the expected results of a 100-year flood now and after the possible construction of the diversion channels. Still, Mintkin cautions that nothing can stop the perfect storm like the one that struck 5 years ago.
I don't know what you could build for, and I'm just telling, I don't know what you can build for a 500-year storm event. At that point, we're all in trouble at that stage.
In Kearney, Michael Shively, News Channel Nebraska.
The Madison County Fair underway in northeast Nebraska with rides, carnival games, all kinds of activities. Yesterday marked the FFA and 4-H competitions, also a glass-blowing demonstration among the other activities. We spoke with some of the fairgoers about what their favorite activities are.
My favorite parts of the fair are the rides. I love doing like all the rides, but I also like the food and that you can win prizes.
It's really fun to keep the summer tradition. Growing up, we always got a funnel cake to split as a family with my parents, so this year we're going to do that with our kids.
My favorite parts of the fair are the carnival games and the rides and spending time with my family.
Bigger events are planned for the coming days. The Madison County Rodeo starts tonight. You'll be able to watch that live on NCN tomorrow evening. The concert featuring rapper Ludacris is on Saturday. And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com, click on the news tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. You're watching News Channel Nebraska.